Welcome everybody. It is Tuesday, April the 11th at 7 p.m. This is Virginia Doll from Virginia's Creative Stamping Corner, and I am delighted to have you here this evening to join me with exploring a stamp set that was actually in the mini catalog, but is now going to be featured as one of our stamp sets in the new annual catalog. So I am very excited to continue working with this stamp set. It's fun. It's fun to create with because it's a kid-related kind of stamp set. It can be birthday, it can be a thank you card, it can be a congratulations card, it can be a sympathy card, a friend card, any kind of card that you want to make it. But the images are fun and can be a little silly. It can be a silly card too if you want to make it a silly card. Okay, well, again, the catalogs, we do have a few things going on right now. Demonstrators are able to pre-order a select number of items from the new annual catalog, and much of that is paper, brand new paper, because we've done a color refresh. And but there is also ongoing for customers a last chance sale, and I want to make sure that you're aware of that. In both the mini catalog, and let me pull that out for you here. Here's the mini catalog that runs out to the end of April or while supplies last. All right, and for that there is a last chance sale. I have several pages of this. The items that are retiring from the catalog. Many of these items are going into the annual catalog. So if it is a bundle, the bundle pricing is the part that is retiring. Usually the stamp set and the die set carry over into the annual catalog, or sometimes anyway. And so if you see things like the bundle pricing retiring, that means that this stamp set and die set are carrying over into the new catalog, okay? This has got highlighted areas on it because this is highlighting material or sets or paper and so forth that I happen to own, which I have to pull off my shelf. So anyway. But keeping that in mind, many of these things are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% off. A lot of these things are flying off the shelves, particularly if it's paper, re-inkers, ink pads, any of those kinds of things. And those will come out of the old annual catalog. So here's the old annual catalog. Okay, and again, this is several pages long, and I've got this back and front, and I've got it in large print because I have old eyes, and I need to be able to use my old eyes. Hi, Kathy. I'm glad you could join me this evening. So anyway, but the set that I'm using is called Silly Goose. And it is, I'll show it to you in the annual catalog, not the annual, the mini catalog, and I didn't mark it, sorry, I didn't think about that. There it is, right there, on page 27. There are some really cute sayings, sentiments in here, and it carried over in the photopolymer. There were several stamp sets in here that you could get either as cling or photopolymer. It carried over in the photopolymer, which is the one that I purchased, which was very convenient for me, because that means I didn't have to get rid of it. Okay, so anyway, we're going to do some stuff with this. I looked on Pinterest, of course, and I looked in the catalog, and I got some ideas from that. So on page 27 in the current mini catalog, as far as I know, this set is still available. It is also carrying over into the annual catalog, the new annual catalog. So there you go. All right, let me get these things out of the way. And speaking of the new annual catalog, I just have to give you a slight, just sort of a peek at the cover. I can't show you the inside yet. That doesn't go live until May 2nd. But that is our new annual catalog. I have not had the opportunity to have it bound yet, spiral bound yet, but I will get to that sometime this week, I think, or early next week. And here is the back of the cover. Beautiful, beautiful, and many of these are new colors. So there you go. And I hope you enjoy looking at that. Hi Karen, how are you? Good, thank you for joining this evening. All right, so that's the new annual catalog, and that's all I can show you right now, sorry. Here is the card that we're making this evening, and I just thought this was so, so cute. Fresh Freesia is the color of the cardstock that we're using, and Fresh Freesia is one of the in colors that's staying with us that we thought would be retiring this year, but it is staying with us as part of one of our core colors. So anyway, that's what we have. And then the paper, the designer series paper, is the heavens, fancy Flora designer series paper. This is the paper that looks like it's a paint swatch or an impressionist type of painting. That's what I used there. And I thought because it was geese, we do something that kind of looked like sort of water. So that's what we did. And that's what we're going to work on this evening. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that we're using. One of the things you'll notice on this card is that it is embossed. I used the Stampin' Cut and Emboss and Basics 3D embossing folders. This is one of those online exclusives. It is available, I believe still available. You may have to wait for it to come back into the warehouse. You can't order it right now, but you have to, but anyway, it will be available once they get a fresh supply of them in. This is the one that I used, and it looks like bubbles, okay, and or raised dots anyway. The other two are different patterns, but I decided to use this one because it reminded me of water. So that is an online exclusive item. The Silly Goose stamp set is, and I did get the photopolymer. So there is that's what it looks like, and you can see the stamps that I'm using. And I decided to use the words from a different stamp set, which I will show to you now. So that was that Silly Goose. Charming Sentiments, I decided to use the congratulations because it was nice and big and in capital letters, and I liked that for our banner. Okay, and then I decided to use the shape for my image was from the florets, the framed florets. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is without flipping this over. Okay, and I used the piece that was on the inside of this this frame to the inside part, which comes out. And that's what I used for that piece of it. So I'm just going to stick that right back in there so I don't lose any of those pieces. That unfortunately is a set of frame or dies that has retired. So, or it will be, it is retiring. So if you like that set, grab it up because I can't guarantee you will be able to have it for too much longer because I thought it was a very popular set. Okay, and I told you already what the paper was, the Fancy Flora, which is very pretty paper, and I believe I've shown it to you before. We actually used part of it on one of the cards that I did last week. It's very, let me pull out most of it here. I've got a lot of pieces here. Very, very pretty paper. You can see the front and the back. Okay, I can do that this way as well. So you get 4 sheets of each design. There are 48 sheets in a pack. Okay, and this again, this is a retired item as well. A retiring item. So if you want to get that paper, you better get right on top of that. Okay, and I used the Banners Pick-a-Punch. Okay, and because it gives me the opportunity for a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, or an inch to make those 3 different size borders. And I can make a banner like this, or with a inverted V, I guess, and then the one going in the opposite direction. All right. Okay. And I did use the Opaque adhesive backed gems, and there were some fresh Freesia ones. So I decided to play up the fresh Freesia again. Those are faceted, I believe. It doesn't say that they are, but they are faceted, which means that kind of gives them a little bit of a glimmer or shine. Okay, and fresh Freesia ink is what I used, and I also used the Memento Tuxedo black ink to do my images in, to stamp my images in. To color the geese, the legs and the beak of the geese, I used the retiring Mango Melody Stampin' Right marker. All right, and then of course all the adhesive that I normally use. All right, so that's everything that we've got going here. So let's get started with this. I did with the envelope. Okay, we're going to put the paper on the envelope. So we'll do that in just a few minutes. The banner is already done for you in fresh Freesia, and I already used it. It's a 1/2 inch piece. And I used the Pick-a-Punch banner Pick-a-Punch to make that banner for you. This has already been embossed. You can see how deep that embossing is. That's that 3D folder. It's fun. It really makes a good image. And that piece is a piece of fresh Freesia. I would just say that's probably just a rectangle. And let's see, that's going to be 2 inches by 5 1/4. Yeah, 2 inches by 5 1/4. You have a piece of basic white, which goes on the inside of the card, and a scrap of basic white that you're going to use to stamp your image on, and I did that for you already. The basic white is 5 1/4 by 4. The designer series paper, which I said was the fancy Flora, was 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. All right, you can see that. Of course, the other side is painted as well, but I think I like the more colorful side. Here is the fresh Freesia. This is the card base, and it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. All right. And I believe this is the piece, this is the scrap for the envelope. All right, so it's a simple card to put together, not hard at all. As I said, I looked a lot in the catalog and also on Pinterest to find things that would inspire me, and of course I always do. And then I utilize what I have and then go from there. All right, so here is my Stampin' Seal. I always use this. You can use any adhesive that you want to, but I always use the Stampin' Seal on my envelope piece here. There are a couple places in every card that I use it. If I'm putting paper on my envelope, I use the Stampin' Seal. Just my own personal preference. Let's see, and we're going to be using dimensionals a little bit later, so we'll have a few more adhesives there. Okay, I'm deciding how I want to put this on here. I think I'll go back the way I had it. I butt it up against the seam. There we go. Okay. And I use my snips. These are the best scissors ever. I've never found a pair of snips that lasted as long as these do. These do not. I've never had a problem with them getting dull. And of course I only use them for paper. I never use them for anything else. So that may make a difference. All right, I'm just cutting off the edges of the extra paper so that it conforms to the shape of the lip or the lid of the envelope, or whatever you want to call it, the top of the envelope. All right, and there is our envelope. All done, nice and neat, very fast. As I said, you can use whatever type of adhesive you want to use for that. It doesn't have to be the tape adhesive. It can be a glue, that kind of thing. I wouldn't go so far as to use something like tear and tape because I think that's a little excessive. This should stay on there fairly well. Okay. Now let's go ahead and start with our card base. On the inside, I didn't put anything, but I did consider one of the words, since this is a congratulations card, one of the sentiments on here says goosebumps, and that goes with the fists, the goose, the geese bumping fists, I guess, together, like, hey, good deal, you got it, you did it. But I didn't put anything on the inside this time. Sorry, Kathy. And I did minimal coloring too, for that matter, because geese are usually white, or actually some of them are gray and black, and I wanted my geese to be white, so I decided not to do any extra coloring on that. All right, so let's go ahead and put our little friends together. So we're going to use the card base and the insert, and I'm going to put, okay, my tape down. As I said, this is a very, very fast card. I did do a little bit more, kind of stepped it up more than some of the ones that I saw, because I wanted to put some embossing on there to give it a little bit more texture. All right, we're going to put this on here in the middle of the card, on the inside, so that we have a nice place to write our message. Okay, now we'll flip it over. I always try to make sure that before I put the top, this is the front of the card, before I put the front of the card on, I make sure I'm not putting it on the wrong side. So there we go. All right, this piece can go straight on here, so I will use my multi-purpose glue, which I use a lot. It is because it goes a long way, and I don't have to use very much of it, and it's probably one of the least expensive of the adhesives that we have. So I save money by using this, and this one is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, so I'm going to have a very small border all the way around, and I really kind of wanted just to have a little peak of color behind that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add this, and I'm going to put it in the center. Again, I need a strong adhesive because this is an uneven piece that I'm putting on a flat piece, and so I need to make sure that I get all those little crevices adhered down to my card. And again, you notice that I just did that on the very edges and a very little bit, and this is exactly the same width, or actually no, it's not. It's a little bit shorter than that, than the paper. There we go. Okay. I made that a little shorter. Okay. Like probably 4 inches rather than 4 1/8. All right, there we go. There's that part. Now the next piece, very simple. We're going to add our greeting and our image. And as I said before, I used the Stampin' Right marker, the retired color Mango Melody, to do the beak and the feet and legs. And I'm going to just put But this is going to go on either side of this. I'm going to put the dimensionals. Sorry, I'll get it out in a minute. I'm going to put the dimensionals on either side. Not to worry, I will use all those little pieces of that dimensional sheet. I won't let any of that go to waste. As a matter of fact, I'm going to need that on some of this. And so I'm going to put this piece here, and this piece here. Actually, no, I'm not going to put that in the middle, I'll put it over here. Okay, on either side. Okay, so there we have all our dimensionals. Let's remove the backings from these dimensionals. And as I said, we're almost done. It's really, really a fast card and a very simple layout. So let's put this on our, that was kind of crazy and wonky there. Try to straighten that out so it looks somewhat straight. I'm going to put this up kind of a little bit near the top so I'll have room on the bottom. Okay, there we go. There's my either side. There's two guys bumping fists together. It's like, congratulations. Can be used for any kind of congratulatory thing, whether it be graduation, which is coming up, you know, pretty shortly, or it could be for completing a task that's been really, really hard, or a change in your job situation, you know, just anything. All right, let's go ahead and pull out from our fresh Freesia. You know, I marked these on purpose because I can't depend on my memory all the time, exactly what colors these were so that I would be able to remember. So fresh Freesia is the color that we're using. I'm going to pull one of the big ones and put it right here on the edge there. And I believe I put a couple of medium and a small one at the top. So I try to use all of the different sizes, just because. All right, let's do that there. And that gives me kind of a nice little triangle. You focus on the triangle and you see the image and the sentiment right away. And there is our card. It is done. That's so simple, so fast, and really, really easy. Okay, so there is our card. And let me go and move a few of these things around a little bit so that you can see some other things. I made two other cards using the other, two of the other ones, this one and this one. I did not use the thanks one yet, but that's a really cute thanks card. That would be great for, you know, like a birthday, as I said, birthday party for kids, a thank you card. Children, at least in my day, were expected to write cards or thank you notes to people who gave them gifts. So that would be a really cute child's thank you note. So anyway, I wanted to kind of, there we go, push this down just a little bit. It seems not there, laying quite right. Okay, there we go. Taking this away, and let's look at this one. I thought was so cute. Sending giggles, or sending gaggles of good wishes. So here's a birthday one. And you can change out the color scheme here. There's Pool Party and Petal Pink. Those are the colors that I used. And these are the iridescent rhinestones, which just conform to whatever color you happen to have them on. So there's a birthday card, a congratulations card, a birthday card, and finally, the last one that I did, and this came from Cindy's Stamping Studio. I thought this was so cute. I did this one, okay. She did this in January when these first came out. And this is the card. This is the watery background. I'm here for you. So this is kind of like a friendship card. And I put, okay, I think on the inside of this one, I did put, there we go. I put a little goose on the inside of that one. This one I didn't do that. And again, I colored with blends, and I do believe I pulled down some of my Stampin' Right markers to do those little tiny guys. That little frog, he's so cute. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. All right. And this is the retiring in color. This is the Parakeet Party, not Bashful Blue, Balmy Blue. Bashful Blue is an old color, but very similar to this one. All right, and then I did this with the envelope as well. Okay, so that's what I have for you tonight. Really quick, really simple, really easy. All of them basically have an image and a sentiment and then a little bit of work on the background. Okay, so I did embossing on 2 of them. That just gives it a little bit more texture. I did add a little bling to them. So I think you can see that that's really a very simple card layout. It's essentially pretty much the same with the exception of this one. This one doesn't have a little extra piece in the middle. So that's it. So thank you so much for watching. The colors I like those colors because they're nice and soft, nice and soft, and I'm into soft colors these days. I do like those, and I'm waiting for my new colors to come. As a matter of fact, they should be here on Thursday. I have a whole box full of paper coming. I ordered all the new returning and in colors and the new core colors, and I'm anxious to get all that in my hands so I can start playing with some of those things. All right, so thank you again so much for being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you, and welcome. And if you are wanting to make any of these cards, because they are so very basic and very simple, you could do this with whatever materials you happen to have on hand. Some of these things are retiring, however. This circle framelit is retiring, this scalloped one. I'm trying to think of any other ones. This is the framed florets. This is retiring as well. So if you want to get a hold of any of those and you don't have them, I would order them right away. Go online to my store or to stampinup.com. At their website, they have an online store, and you can just put my name in as your demonstrator if you do not have a demonstrator. So take care of yourselves. Make sure that you are able to do something creative every day.